So I'm going to try to get these out as fast as possible. So, overall planning is going to be kind of weird today. So Conor McGregor wanted $10 million to fight at UFC 200, and apparently that's what people are saying the whole discrepancy was about and why he retired and blah 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 blah. A lot of people were saying that it was a power move on McGregor and that he was trying to bluff the UFC because he asked for $10 million, and they said no. $10 million would be more than any other fighter has ever been paid for one fight, ever. He would have been the record holder for that as well. And honestly, it totally made sense. And I honestly would have asked the same thing too. Like if I were in the seat that Conor McGregor is in, where I'm making the entire company and the entire sport go up higher. If I'm bringing in all the money, if I'm breaking all the records, if everyone is paying attention to me, then I'd be like, yeah, dude, pay me $10 fucking million. Pay me that shit, or I'm not fighting. I'd do the same shit. And honestly, it makes total sense, and I agree 100% with his, thought process. Because why would you want to be paid less than people who aren't breaking these records? And it has literally nothing to... The UFC signed him, but they didn't build him. Conor talked shit and just backed it up. Like, that's what made him become popular, and he was like, hey guys, look, I said I was gonna do it, and I did. And then, the UFC started putting that behind their sponsorship idea of sponsoring those fights and sponsoring all that shit that had to do with Conor. And, even the media was in love with him. Whenever you would hear him at the press conferences, the media loved him. Media would cheer for him because, everybody loves that stick-it-to-the-man type of guy who can say, hey, man, fuck ya. You know what I mean? So, he should have asked for $10 million fucking dollars to fight. He should have. Because that's how much money that he should be making. If you're making billions of dollars, you can afford to pay that guy down all the way at the totem pole that's pulling the entire weight of your billion-dollar company. You should pay that motherfucker. And, I mean, that's the thing about business, though, is you don't want to pay somebody what they're worth. You want to pay them, like, a fraction of what they're worth. And that's how businesses become businesses. That's how these elite guys become elite guys. You don't pay them what they're worth, and you shit on them until they submit. And that's what they kind of did to Conor, and Conor was like, fuck ya. I call your bluff, The UFC called his bluff, and then Conor said, fuck ya, I'm gonna really do it. So, I mean, I agree 100% with what he did, because he brought in all the money, he brought in all the record... He is the record breaker. They don't call him notorious for no reason. He broke every record that they ever put up, and he undoubtedly deserves $10 million to fight. If they really want him to fight, and they really need him that bad, because Rousey's out, because Jones is fighting somebody that isn't going to make a difference, Lawler's going to fight at 201, 202, or 203. I mean, pay the motherfucker. Pay him. Pay him to be the top dog. That's it. That's it. I mean, I hate to sound like Joe Rogan, but, pay the motherfucker. Sorry. And a lot of other people are saying it's a lot of other different things, like he didn't want to go on World Tour anymore because they wanted to try to do one for UFC 200, blink, blink. But, he said no, and then they didn't want to pay him the money, and then probably had something to do with the guy dying with him in attendance. That probably fucked with him too. I know it would for me personally. I can't say for him personally, but I know for me it would fuck me up, so maybe it fucked him up. I don't know. We're all human. We kind of agree and disagree about a lot of things. But here's the thing. That might have fucked with him. That may have, really, it may have messed with him. And who knows, man? It could have. But let's not forget that, at the end of the day, this is a business. And when you say, hey, man, I want $10 million, and they say no, then you can't just, like, as a human being and as a man and as, you don't want to say, you don't want to roll over. You know what I mean? And Conor definitely shouldn't have rolled over. And that's the situation. If you ever find yourself in a situation like that where you know that you should be given a raise or whatever, and you know that you're the top dog and you're in a company or whatever, when you know you're the shit, do not back down, because more than likely they will pay Conor what he wants to be paid. And more than likely, maybe this fight might get put back on. Who knows? But they will. Conor's under contract. So unless they just keep him on contract so he can't do anything for the next few, however long his contract lasts, that could be a possibility. If they do that, they're pieces of shit, and the UFC has done that before. So but they bullied guys, like people that happened to. They did not have the same pull as Conor McGregor, and he has pull. Not because he's a UFC fighter. He has pull because of his personality. People like him. So if they try to do that to Conor McGregor, there's going to be a war. The UFC will probably lose that war. And that'll be a big problem for them. So this could escalate, or it could de-escalate, and they could just, put the fight back on. That'd be fucking sweet if that happened, but it probably won't. So... but it probably will. Who knows? There's so many fucking guessing games in this fucking sport nowadays that... I mean, who fucking knows who's gonna fight in their place? I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. There's too much shit behind the sport. It makes me want to commit suicide sometimes. But, dude, fucking... we're gonna see what's gonna happen. I don't fucking know. Do you know? I don't know. See you later.